Hey everyone, this is Recur from Ghost to Crew. I've been getting asked a lot lately about the Tribunal and how it works. So I figured I'd just go ahead and show you guys. Just as a forward, obviously I already have a case pulled up, but there's not going to be any privacy issues that are going to arise from this because I'm going to be blocking everything. So names in both up top and at the chat log and all that good stuff. So no concerns there. But overall, to be part of the Tribunal, you need to be level 30 for starters. Once you're level 30, you can go to, for the North American side, you can go to na.leagueoflegends.com/tribunal. For the EU side, just change out the NA for for EU. But that's how you get there. Obviously, you have to agree to the Summoner's Code and all that good stuff. But the other factor is that there's going to be a breakdown on several spots, and I'm going to go through all that. So first thing, and it's no longer there, but there's actually a countdown timer that happens over in this area, so you can't just spam these things. It's a 60-second countdown timer, so you actually have to look at it and all that stuff. So there's not going to be any spam reports or anything like that. Or you're not allowed to do that anyways. The next thing is you can look at what their kill, death, and assist ratios were in terms of how many they had. You can look at their items, what character they played, all that good stuff. Obviously, on the right-hand side, you have punish, pardon, and skip. The reason you would do a skip is if, like, for example, the entire chat log is in German or Portuguese or Spanish, basically any language that is not native to your own and you cannot read it. So it's kind of nice to have a skip button because obviously there are reports in numerous languages. This is an international game after all, so, and I have gotten a couple, so I have had to use the skip button on a couple of occasions. But it's nice because obviously you don't want to punish them or pardon them because you can't read the language. The other nice thing is there's the I'm done for now button, which basically is really nice to have if you're in the middle of doing something and all of a sudden you got to realize you got to go. You can hit I'm done for now and come back and finish it up later. You get 10 cases a day, so they reset every day at 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So as long as you get them in by midnight, you can get another 10 the next day, basically, which is what I usually do. And then I basically do them throughout the week because you basically get your IP based on the week. So if you come in at the end of the week, there's you have a little bit of a chance to not get very much IP out of it. The question is, how much IP do you get? Well, if, for example, this case I successfully predict, because there's other people that are voting on the same case besides me. It's not just, okay, this one person punished me, whatever. It's a jury type of thing. So it's a group of people. If I punish them, for example, or pardon them, it works either way, and the rest of the people decide that that's the punishment, or they deserve the punishment or the pardon as well, then I'm awarded 5 IP for every case that I successfully predict. So in a week, I may have, if I can predict all 70 cases correctly, I'll get 350 IP out of it. So, it's based on basically a 20-minute loss type of deal. So it's not bad, considering it only takes you anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to actually go through all 10 cases, depending on how bad they are and how much information there is to sort through. Sometimes it's an open and shut. If there's 10 games in a case, and I'll show you what that looks like, you can see that I'm looking at game number 4 in this case, but he has 10 reports. So each game is a separate report. If all of them are AFKs or all of them are intentionally feeding, it's kind of an open and shut case, especially if they kind of show that. I mean, if it shows 000 and it's leave or AFK, or 02 and you see in the chat log that it says specifically that, hey, I'm out of here, I'm done with this, whatever, it goes a lot faster. And I've had 5 or 6 cases that was the case. So looking down in the report comments, this is very important for you guys that are doing reports. I've had a lot of people go, oh, well, I'm going to go to the tribunal and ban this person, whatever. And that's not how it works. So just because you report somebody and you put in the most negative thing you can think of, it first stops off at somebody like me who's doing the case, who decides their fate. If we decide to punish them, it goes on to Riot Games and they hand the punishment out. That's how it works. Okay? So to say that, oh, well, I'm going to get you banned by the tribunal, that's not how it works. It's actually Riot Games that does the punishing. So that's kind of a misconception that I'm trying to clear up with all that stuff. And sometimes it takes you more than one go round to get anything to happen to you, from what I understand. So, but having said that, most of the time that you see somebody that you just hate, you absolutely hate them, and then you see them 2 weeks later, and you're like, man, what are you still doing here playing this game? Well, if you didn't take the time to fill out any of the comments on the report, you probably didn't have enough evidence to go off of. I see all the time, this is the number, these two things, these next two reports, offenses basically, are the two I see the most. Verbal abuse and assisting the enemy team. With verbal abuse especially, if I don't see him talk or her talk in chat at all, because I've seen those reports, somebody's reporting for verbal abuse and there's nothing in the chat log. Absolutely nothing. Which means that all the abuse happened either in the pre-game lobby, in terms of a ranked game when you're doing hero selection, or in the after-game lobby after the game's done. In which case, I do not have access to the chat log. Which means that you have to write something in the comments about it. And that's the other misconception, is that I'm given all this information to deal with. If you report somebody for spamming and it's because they were clicking all over the map and hitting the G key and I think it's the V key now, and just spamming the minimap, I don't get notifications of that at all. So if you don't put that in the comments, I have no way of knowing what the hell happened. So it's on you guys, as well as it is on Riot, to put a little bit of, and as me for that matter, not to put too much on Riot's shoulders, but so you as the person that's actually voting, or not voting on it, as reporting it, to say, okay, this is what happened, this is what is just ridiculous about it, all this stuff, and taking the time to actually write out 1 to 2 sentences. It only takes like 30 seconds, especially if you're really mad about it. It'll take you 5. Don't make stuff up though. That's retarded. I've seen people make up stuff, all sorts of stuff. That he verbally abused me and he said the N-word and all this other stuff. And you go down the chat log, the guy never said a word. That type of stuff. And then he was spamming all game in terms of chat. And it's like he said hi and that's about it. Don't do that. It's on our shoulders as the votees essentially to decide the outcome, whether or not to send it to Riot. And that is, but we need the information from the reporter in order to have that happen most of the time, because chat logs aren't everything. So, and then obviously it's on Riot Games to deal out the punishment as they see fit. But so really, the best thing you guys can do is just put 1 to 2 sentences down on the report comments. It will improve the capabilities of the Tribunal so much if you guys just take a little bit of time and put something into a report. Instead of just saying, oh, well, verbal abuse, and then think that gets the job done. Because that's basically like writing a test case for a bug and saying, oh, it's broken. Well, what's broken about it? I got that all the time as a QA tester. It was ridiculous. So you'll notice as well that I have to enter a CAPTCHA, so that means I can't just go through and spam the punish button and go through. So you guys have that on your side. But I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the chat log so you guys can see what that looks like here in just a second. Okay guys, so I've scrolled down the chat log. Again, I've covered everything up. If I didn't state that before, I'm going to state it again, or for the first time. I've basically covered everything up so there's no invasion of privacy or whatever, and that goes for both the person being reported and that goes for the people that were in the chat, because it shows everything. I mean, the whole chat log is posted. The nice thing about the chat log that Riot's done is, instead of me having to go through and find that name every damn time, they've just highlighted it in purple. So the reported player will always be in purple. You'll always know what they were playing as well in terms of the other heroes around them. The ally team is going to be in green, and the enemy team is going to be in red, of course. So very nice to be separated. Now, in terms of the report comments, he kept calling us a racial term. Immediately, I'm going to scroll through here and try to find that racial slur or what have you in the chat log. If I can't find it, then I'm going to say that it's a false report. Now, if it said he kept calling us racial terms in the after-game lobby, then obviously that's on my discretion, because I don't have access to that. To be honest, to some degree, I wish I had a replay over just a chat log, but Riot does the best they can. So I do find it; it's there. So I know it was mentioned at least once and it has been actually mentioned. I've scrolled through about half this log, but I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times throughout this log. So I know at least on this game, it's there. Now I'm going to go through all 10 games to see if it's consistent, and then decide, whether or not to do anything about it, depending on what it is. So again, you're not going to see me vote on this thing. I'm just going to tell you how it would go. Basically, it has 10 he has 10 offenses to his name right now, or her name, if the case may be. So basically, we go through all 10 games. A good tribunalist will go through all 10 games and see if it's consistent. If it's not consistent, then we pardon them, because obviously, if it's like, for example, one game it's AFK, one game it's feeding, one game it's whatever. Depending on what it is or how bad it is, it's like, okay, a guy was having a bad day. But if it's one of those things where every game it's like he goes 0-27, then yeah, it's a problem. So then, I would personally deal out the course of action of punishing him. That's my opinion. That reflects on nobody else's stuff. But that type of stuff, I look for consistency. I've seen stuff where it's all over the place, and it's like, okay, well, kid was just having a bad day, I guess, or a bad week for that matter. Because I don't know how these reports come in. It may have been 10 reports in a single day. I have no idea. The 10 reports could have been over a period of a month and a half. To be honest, I don't know how the cases come up. I don't know how the back end works at Riot Games. So I'm not going to say, oh, well, these are the 10 cases, 10 reports he got in a week, and he's just a bad person, or they're just a misunderstood person, what have you. So I guess to recap, basically, guys, the way the tribunal works is that you got to be level 30 for starters. If you're on the North American side of things, it's na.leagueoflegends.com/tribunal. If you're on the EU side of things, just change out the NA for EU. 2, you have to agree for the Summoner's Code in order to even be inducted into the tribunal, essentially. So if you haven't ever posted on the forums, or it's your first time visiting the website, you got to sign the Summoner's Code. And that makes you legit, basically. Third thing, if you're reporting a player, please put stuff in the comments. There's a comment box for a reason. And if stuff happened in the pre-game lobby or in the after-game lobby, I cannot stress this enough, please put stuff in there. Especially if it was assisting the enemy team, because as you can see, all I'm given is a chat log. If it didn't happen in the chat log, I got nothing. Especially if it's stuff like spamming the G key or stuff on the mini-map, or intentionally tower diving and no comments made about it. I got nothing. So, please, by all means, do us a favor. Put stuff in the comments. It'll take you like a minute at most. And if you're really that mad, it'll take you 30 seconds. Finally, it's Riot Games that dishes out the punishments. So, if you're one of those people that you just gotta say, I'm reporting you to the tribunal, don't say stupid shit like, I'm gonna get you banned by the tribunal. Because it's not our job to ban people. It's Riot Games' job to ban people. So all we do is send it on to Riot Games. The other thing is that just because you report somebody doesn't mean that they're going to get a ban. So don't throw that in their face, because you're just making yourself look like a jackass. Just basically, if you need to, just tell everybody, hey, look, I need you guys to report this dude for whatever, and then leave it. Simple as that. But in any case, guys, I hope this video helped. Again, my name is Rakura. I do play League of Legends all the time on our channel at twitch.tv/Gosukura. And of course, we do esports stuff as well. But in any case, hope this video helped, and I'll see you guys around.